he wanted her in his bed without a ring. Then pushed the Apache woman to the ground. Maria had always been proud of her roots. Growing up in a small town surrounded by open fields and forests, she had learned to value her independence and the strength that came from her heritage. Her grandmother had taught her stories of their ancestors, of the Apache women who were known for their courage, wisdom, and resilience. Maria carried those stories in her heart, and they shaped the way she moved through the world. She was not someone who would bend easily, and she had a quiet confidence that made people notice her without even realizing it. At 24, Maria had moved to the city for work, taking a job as an administrative assistant at a local company. It was a big change from her hometown, with its familiar faces and open spaces. The city was loud, fast, and sometimes overwhelming, but she had quickly learned how to navigate it. Her natural curiosity and sharp mind helped her adjust. She made friends slowly but meaningfully, keeping a circle of people she could trust. Among them, she had learned to be cautious around those who seemed charming on the surface, but whose intentions were unclear. One of these people was Alex.
He was new to the office and had quickly drawn attention with his confident manner and easy charm. Many of the employees were impressed by him. He had a way of speaking that made people feel like they were important.
He noticed Maria from the start, often seeking her out to talk, asking questions about her work, her background, and her experiences. At first, Maria thought of him as a friendly colleague, someone trying to fit into a new environment. But she also felt a slight unease around him, a sense that his interest in her was more than just professional. She couldn't put her finger on it, but something in his gaze and the way he lingered made her cautious. Despite her intuition, Maria remained polite and professional. She valued her independence and had always believed that people should earn respect through their actions, not their charm. She focused on her work, making sure her performance was solid and consistent. She didn't want to give anyone a reason to underestimate her, and she had no interest in office gossip or unnecessary drama. But Alex's presence was persistent. He often tried to engage her in conversation outside of work hours, inviting her to lunch or coffee.
Maria would decline politely, citing work or prior commitments. She had learned to set boundaries, and she intended to stick to them.
One afternoon, Alex approached her desk with a casual smile, holding a folder of papers. "Hey, Maria, could you help me understand this report?" "I'm having a little trouble with some of the numbers," he said. His tone was friendly, almost warm, but Maria noticed the way his eyes seemed to search for something beyond the work breath. She took the folder, glancing over the pages, and explained the calculations carefully, pointing out where the errors were.
Alex listened attentively, nodding and thanking her repeatedly.
Maria felt a small sense of satisfaction at being helpful, but she also felt the underlying tension of his gaze, which lingered a moment too long. After that day, Alex became more persistent. He would find reasons to talk to her, often complimenting her intelligence or her appearance. Maria recognized the signs early. She had been taught to trust her instincts. She remembered the stories her grandmother had told her about standing firm in the face of unwanted attention. Those stories weren't just myths. They were lessons in courage and self-respect. Maria knew she had to maintain her boundaries, even if it made the situation awkward. Her friends noticed the changes too. One of her closest colleagues, Lena, warned her gently. "Maria, I know you're polite and all, but I think Alex is crossing a line. He doesn't seem to understand that no means no." Maria nodded, appreciating the concern, but she also felt a sense of confidence. She had faced challenges before, and she knew how to handle difficult situations. She decided to approach it with a clear mind and firm boundaries. She would remain professional, yet she would not allow anyone to disrespect her. The office environment added another layer of complexity. It was competitive, and people often used charm and flattery to get ahead. Maria had learned to be careful, observing how people interacted and who could be trusted. She noticed that Alex was well liked by some, which made her cautious. If she reacted too strongly, it could create unnecessary tension. Instead, she chose a strategy of calm assertiveness. She would respond politely but firmly, making it clear that she valued respect above all else. Her dignity and self-respect were her shields, and she relied on them to navigate the growing tension. One day, during a team meeting, Alex tried to put Maria in an uncomfortable position. He made a joke that implied something more personal than professional, and some of their colleagues laughed awkwardly. Maria felt a surge of discomfort but maintained her composure. She responded with a neutral comment, steering the conversation back to work. She could feel the eyes of her coworkers on her, some curious, some sympathetic. But she didn't waver. Her grandmother's stories of strength echoed in her mind, reminding her that she didn't have to tolerate behavior that felt wrong. She had the power to stand her ground without causing a scene. After the meeting, Maria returned to her desk, her mind racing. She considered her options carefully. She could confront Alex directly, or she could document his behavior and report it if it escalated. She chose the latter, taking careful notes about the interactions, the dates, and the nature of his comments. Breath.
She had learned that being prepared and having a clear record was important. It was not about creating conflict unnecessarily. It was about protecting herself and maintaining her integrity.
Her approach was deliberate, thoughtful, and controlled.
That evening, as Maria walked home through the city streets, she reflected on the day.
The sun was setting, casting a warm glow over the buildings, and the air was filled with the usual sounds of city life: cars, distant conversations, and the occasional laugh from a nearby cafe. She felt a mixture of frustration and determination, frustration at the persistence of unwanted attention, but determination to remain true to herself and her values. She knew that challenges like this were part of life, and how she responded would define her character. Her heritage had taught her that strength came from patience, clarity, and courage. Maria's apartment was a small, cozy space filled with books, photographs, and mementos from her family. She made herself a cup of tea and sat by the window, gazing at the city lights. The day had been long, but she felt a sense of clarity. Desk. She knew that maintaining boundaries required constant vigilance, but she was ready for it. She thought about the stories of the Apache women, how they had faced hardships with dignity and resilience. She felt a connection to that legacy, a reminder that she was not alone in her struggle. Courage, she realized, was not always about grand gestures. Sometimes it was about quiet, unwavering strength. As she sipped her tea, Maria began to plan the next steps. She would continue to work with professionalism, keep careful records of any inappropriate behavior, and seek support from trusted friends and colleagues. Perhaps she would not allow fear or intimidation to dictate her actions. Her focus was on creating a safe and respectful environment for herself, one in which she could thrive both personally and professionally.
Maria understood that challenges like these were tests of character, opportunities to reaffirm her values and her sense of self. By the end of Part 1, Maria had established her stance.
Narration. She was alert, aware, and unyielding. She knew that the coming days might bring further challenges, but she was prepared. Her strength lay not in confrontation or aggression, but in her ability to remain calm, thoughtful, and firm. She carried the stories of her ancestors with her, using them as a source of guidance and courage. The path ahead was uncertain, but Maria faced it with a steady heart and a clear mind, determined to protect herself and uphold her dignity no matter what. The next morning, Maria woke early, as she usually did, with a sense of purpose. The sunlight streaming through her window highlighted the neatness of her apartment. She had organized her workspace carefully the night before, with her notes on Alex's behavior ready to guide her next steps. While many might have felt anxious in her position, Maria felt a quiet determination. She knew that the key to navigating difficult situations was clarity, preparation, and self-respect. Today she would focus on staying strong, but she also intended to observe Alex more closely, understanding his patterns without letting him intimidate her. As she walked to work, the city was alive with its usual energy. People hurried past her, some absorbed in their own world, others laughing or chatting with friends. Maria felt the contrast between her calm focus and the rush around her. She reflected on how much she had changed since moving here. In her hometown, life had been slower and simpler, but the city had forced her to develop new skills, especially when it came to dealing with people she didn't fully trust. She knew that navigating office dynamics required both patience and strategy. When she arrived at the office, Alex was already there, talking animatedly with another colleague. He spotted Maria and waved, his smile wide and seemingly friendly. Maria gave a polite nod in return, choosing not to react emotionally. She had learned that any visible frustration or irritation could be used against her in subtle ways. By keeping her demeanor neutral, she retained control over the situation. As she settled into her desk, she reviewed the notes she had made the previous day, checking details and thinking through possible responses to future interactions. During the morning meeting, Alex again tried to draw attention toward Maria. He made a comment meant to highlight her contributions, but there was an undertone that felt more personal than professional. Maria remained composed, responding with calm professionalism. She steered the discussion back to the agenda, addressing the points of the project clearly and confidently. Some colleagues glanced at her with a mixture of surprise and admiration. They could see her strength, even if they didn't understand the subtle tension beneath the surface. Maria felt a small sense of validation, but she reminded herself not to become complacent. The situation was far from over. After the meeting, she returned to her desk and noticed a small note slipped under her keyboard. It was a friendly message from a coworker praising her recent work. While it had no direct connection to Alex, it reminded her of the importance of allies in the workplace. Maria realized that she could not face challenges alone. Building a network of support, even in a professional environment, was crucial. She had always believed in the value of community, and now more than ever that principle was proving its worth.
Throughout the morning, Alex continued to find reasons to engage with her.
Sometimes he asked for help on minor tasks. Other times he attempted casual conversation about topics unrelated to work. Maria responded politely, but maintained her distance. She had become adept at deflecting unwanted attention while still appearing cooperative. Her strategy was simple: acknowledge politely, redirect when necessary, and never reveal her discomfort. This approach required constant vigilance, but it allowed her to maintain her dignity without escalating the situation unnecessarily. By midday, Maria felt a sense of mental fatigue, but navigating this delicate balance was exhausting. But she reminded herself that resilience was built in moments like these. She decided to take a break outside, walking through a small park near her office. The fresh air and greenery helped clear her mind, providing a brief but necessary respite from the tension inside the office. She watched people pass by, some walking dogs, others eating lunch on benches. Observing life in motion reminded her that the world was larger than her immediate problems. Challenges at work were significant, but they were only a part of life's broader tapestry. During her walk, Maria reflected on her past experiences that had taught her perseverance. In her teenage years, she had faced situations where people underestimated her because of her youth or background. Each time, she had learned to assert herself calmly and confidently. Those lessons had stayed with her, shaping the way she responded to challenges. Today, she understood that strength was not about aggression or confrontation, but about maintaining integrity, setting clear boundaries, and trusting one's instincts. Returning to the office, Maria found Alex waiting near the entrance to the conference room. He approached her with a smile that still carried that subtle undertone of expectation. Maria met his gaze evenly, neither intimidated nor overly friendly. "Good afternoon, Alex," she said, her voice calm. He seemed slightly thrown off by her composed demeanor. Maria noticed a flicker of surprise in his eyes. He had expected a different reaction. She reminded herself that her strength lay in consistency. By maintaining her professionalism and self-respect, she retained control over the situation. The afternoon was filled with tasks, meetings, and the usual office activities. Maria focused on her work, letting her performance speak for itself. She noticed that Alex tried to insert himself into her projects more than before, offering unsolicited suggestions and commentary. Maria responded politely but firmly, accepting valid input while gently declining unnecessary involvement. Her colleagues noticed her composed handling of the situation, some offering subtle support with a nod or smile. Maria felt reassured by these small gestures, understanding that she was not alone in navigating this challenge.
Later in the day, a minor conflict arose in the team over project responsibilities.
Alex attempted to deflect blame onto others, subtly implying that Maria had overlooked certain details. Maria stayed calm and addressed the situation with clarity. She explained her approach to the project, citing specific examples and evidence. Her tone was confident but measured, avoiding any emotional reaction. By the end of the discussion, it was clear to everyone that Maria's handling of the project had been thorough and professional. She felt a quiet satisfaction in defending her work with integrity, reinforcing her sense of self-respect. After work, Maria met Lena for coffee. She needed to decompress and discuss the day with someone she trusted. Lena listened carefully as Maria recounted the interactions with Alex. They analyzed his behavior together, discussing possible motivations and strategies for maintaining boundaries. Lena reminded Maria of her own strength, praising her calm and consistent approach. Maria appreciated the support, feeling reinforced in her belief that relying on trusted allies was essential. They planned ways to ensure Maria's workspace remained professional and safe, discussing both proactive and reactive strategies for potential challenges. That evening, Maria reflected again on the importance of her heritage and the lessons from her grandmother. The stories of Apache women who had faced adversity with courage and dignity were not just historical tales. They were guides for navigating life today. Maria recognized that her strength came from patience, careful observation, and unwavering self-respect. She felt a renewed sense of purpose, understanding that she had the tools to face any challenge that might arise. Before bed, Maria reviewed her notes on Alex once more. She documented each interaction carefully, noting dates, times, and the nature of the exchanges. She understood the importance of having a clear record in case the situation escalated. Her approach was not reactive but deliberate, ensuring that she remained in control of the narrative. By organizing her thoughts and observations, Maria felt empowered rather than anxious. She knew that preparedness was a form of strength, allowing her to act with clarity and confidence. As she finally settled into bed, Maria felt a sense of calm. The day had been long, challenging, and mentally demanding, but she had navigated it with resilience. She recognized that the path ahead might bring further tests of patience and courage, but she was ready. Her focus remained on maintaining her dignity, her boundaries, and her sense of self. In the quiet of her apartment, surrounded by reminders of her family and heritage, Maria felt connected to a legacy of strength and courage that gave her the confidence to face whatever tomorrow might bring.
By the end of part 2, the story had deepened.
Maria's character had grown stronger, her strategies more defined, and her resolve unwavering. The tension with Alex continued, but Maria's approach showed that courage was not always loud. It could be quiet, deliberate, and unyielding. The foundation for future challenges had been laid, setting the stage for the next phase of the story, where decisions and consequences would test her strength even further. The following week brought a mixture of anticipation and apprehension for Maria. She arrived at the office early, as she often did, appreciating the quiet before the day's activity began. She liked these moments of calm, where she could organize her thoughts and prepare herself for the challenges ahead. Maria knew that navigating a tense situation required both strategy and patience, and she had learned to value these moments of mental preparation. Her workspace was neat, with her notes organized and easily accessible, a reflection of her commitment to staying in control. Alex's presence was noticeable from the moment she walked in. He greeted colleagues with his usual charm, and when his eyes met Maria's, she felt the subtle tension that had been building over weeks. She acknowledged him with a calm nod, refusing to let his gaze unsettle her.
Maria had spent enough time analyzing his behavior to understand his patterns.
He thrived on attention and sought to test boundaries, but Maria's consistent responses had begun to frustrate him in ways he could not openly express. She had noticed slight changes in his behavior, a hint of impatience, moments of hesitation, and attempts at indirect influence. The morning passed with routine tasks, meetings, and collaborative work. Maria stayed focused on her responsibilities, demonstrating her competence without seeking unnecessary attention. Her colleagues continued to notice her calm and professional demeanor, and some subtly offered their support. Maria felt reassured by these small gestures.
They reminded her that even in challenging circumstances, she was not alone.
She valued these allies, knowing that a strong support network could make a significant difference when tensions escalated. Around mid-morning, an unexpected challenge arose. The team was asked to present a progress report to upper management, and Alex attempted to assert himself as the team's spokesperson. Maria noticed immediately that he was positioning the narrative in a way that could shift attention away from her contributions. Instead of reacting impulsively, she remained composed. When it was her turn to speak, she presented her work clearly and confidently, providing detailed explanations and highlighting key achievements. Her preparation was evident, and her professionalism left little room for doubt. The management team acknowledged her insights, praising her clarity and thoroughness. Maria noticed a flicker of surprise on Alex's face. Her composed and competent handling of the presentation disrupted his attempt to dominate the situation. She realized that consistency was her greatest ally. By maintaining professionalism and confidence, she had asserted herself without confrontation. Her approach was subtle but effective, demonstrating that strength could be expressed through skill, preparation, and calm authority.
After the presentation, the tension between Maria and Alex was noticeable to those around them.
Alex attempted to make small talk with her, but Maria's neutral responses subtly reinforced her boundaries. She focused on her work, completing tasks with precision while remaining observant of his actions. She understood that every interaction provided information, allowing her to anticipate future challenges. Maria's strategic approach was guided by experience, instinct, and the lessons from her heritage. She remembered the stories of strong women in her family, women who faced adversity with intelligence, patience, and dignity. During lunch, Maria and Lena met at their usual cafe. They discussed the morning's events, analyzing the subtle power dynamics at play. Lena encouraged Maria to continue documenting interactions with Alex, emphasizing the importance of a clear record. Maria appreciated the support, recognizing that preparation and awareness were crucial in maintaining control over difficult situations. They also discussed ways to strengthen professional relationships within the team, ensuring that collaboration remained productive and respectful. Maria valued these conversations, finding reassurance in shared insights and strategies. Returning to the office, Maria faced another subtle challenge. Alex had left a folder on her desk with a note suggesting that she review his suggestions for a new project. The tone was friendly, but Maria sensed an underlying expectation that she would prioritize his ideas over her own. She took a deep breath and reminded herself that her strength lay in discernment and composure. But she reviewed the suggestions objectively, acknowledging valid points while carefully evaluating her own approach. By responding thoughtfully and professionally, she reinforced her autonomy and demonstrated that collaboration did not mean surrendering control. Later in the afternoon, a team discussion revealed a discrepancy in project timelines. Alex attempted to assign blame indirectly, implying that others were responsible for delays. Maria listened attentively, analyzing the situation before speaking. She presented a clear, evidence-based account of her work, explaining the steps she had taken to maintain efficiency. Her measured and confident response highlighted her integrity and commitment to accountability. Her colleagues observed the exchange, recognizing her professionalism and the fairness of her approach. Maria felt a sense of quiet satisfaction knowing that her calm and deliberate handling had prevented unnecessary conflict. By mid-afternoon, Maria noticed that Alex's behavior had shifted again. His attempts to dominate discussions were met with subtle resistance, and he seemed to test boundaries in less obvious ways. Maria remained vigilant, observing patterns and anticipating possible strategies. She understood that influence could take many forms, and that being aware of subtle tactics was essential in maintaining control. Her approach was methodical, combining observation, preparation, and careful responses to ensure that she retained agency over her actions. As the day progressed, Maria also focused on supporting her colleagues. She offered guidance where needed, shared insights, and facilitated collaboration within the team. By doing so, she strengthened professional relationships and reinforced a culture of respect and accountability. Her efforts were noticed and appreciated, contributing to a sense of trust and camaraderie among her peers. Maria understood that leadership was not about exerting dominance, but about fostering collaboration, integrity, and mutual respect. Towards the end of the day, Maria was invited to attend an informal gathering with the team to celebrate the completion of a project milestone. She considered whether attending was the best decision, weighing the social benefits against potential challenges.
Ultimately, she decided to participate, recognizing the importance of maintaining visibility and positive relationships within the team.
At the gathering, she engaged in casual conversation, demonstrating warmth and approachability while remaining mindful of boundaries. Her presence was confident and composed, reflecting her growing ability to navigate complex social dynamics. During the event, Alex attempted to engage her in private conversation, seeking to steer the interaction toward personal topics. Maria politely excused herself, citing the need to interact with other team members. She maintained a calm and friendly demeanor, ensuring that her boundaries were respected without creating tension. Her response was deliberate, balancing assertiveness with social grace. Observing this, Lena gave Maria a subtle approving glance, a reminder that her strategy was effective and her composure was noticed by allies. After returning home, Maria reflected on the day's events. The challenges she faced were not always overt, but they required constant awareness, intelligence, and patience. She recognized that her strength lay in her ability to maintain dignity and composure under pressure. Each interaction provided an opportunity to reaffirm her values and assert her autonomy. Maria felt proud of her ability to navigate complex social dynamics while remaining true to herself. As she prepared for bed, Maria reviewed her notes on the week's interactions. She had documented patterns, potential challenges, and strategies for responding effectively.
By maintaining detailed records, she reinforced her confidence and preparedness. She also recognized the importance of self-care, understanding that resilience required both mental fortitude and physical well-being.
With a sense of calm and focus, she settled into sleep, ready to face the coming days with determination and clarity. By the end of Part 3, Maria's character had grown stronger, more strategic, and even more aware of the subtle challenges she faced. The tension with Alex continued, but she had learned to navigate it with skill, patience, and dignity. Her professional reputation and personal confidence were both reinforced, setting the stage for the next phase of the story. In the coming chapters, Maria would face new challenges that would test her resilience further, but she was now better equipped to meet them with intelligence, courage, and unwavering self-respect. The following week felt heavier than the last. Maria sensed a subtle shift in the office atmosphere. While her colleagues remained supportive, she noticed whispers and curious glances whenever she and Alex were in the same room. She had always known that tension could ripple through a workplace, especially when personalities clashed, but this felt different. It was as though her steadfastness had drawn attention, not just from Alex, but from others who were beginning to take sides.
Maria reminded herself to stay calm. She had dealt with challenges before, and she knew that careful observation and measured responses were her greatest allies.
From the moment she entered the office, Alex seemed determined to assert himself in ways that were harder to counter. He volunteered for tasks that directly overlapped with Maria's responsibilities, attempting to insert himself into her workflow. Maria observed quietly, letting him overextend himself while she focused on her own tasks.
She knew that by remaining diligent and competent, she could demonstrate her abilities without having to confront him directly.
It was a careful balance of patience, awareness, and quiet strategy, a skill Maria had honed over weeks of subtle tension. During the morning meeting, Alex made a pointed comment about workflow efficiency, hinting that certain tasks had been delayed.
Maria felt the familiar tug of unease but did not let it show.
She calmly responded, presenting clear documentation of her work, timelines, and completed tasks. Her voice was even, her explanations precise. As she spoke, she noticed the expressions of her colleagues changing, some impressed, some thoughtful. By addressing the issue with clarity and professionalism, she diffused the potential conflict without escalating it. Maria felt a sense of quiet satisfaction. She was learning that patience and composure could be more powerful than confrontation.
After the meeting, Maria returned to her desk to find a message from a senior manager requesting a one-on-one discussion later in the week.
While the content of the message was neutral, Maria immediately recognized its potential significance. She knew that such meetings could be opportunities to clarify her performance, highlight achievements, or address ongoing workplace dynamics. She resolved to prepare carefully, reviewing her notes and documenting recent interactions with Alex. By doing so, she ensured that she could present a clear and objective account if needed, demonstrating both competence and professionalism. As the day progressed, Alex attempted various subtle tactics to distract or unsettle her. He would casually comment on her ideas in meetings, sometimes implying that he had a better approach. Maria responded by acknowledging his input politely, then redirecting the discussion back to her original plan, supported by facts and careful reasoning. She noticed that some colleagues began to recognize the pattern. Alex's attempts to dominate or redirect were consistently met with calm, evidence-based responses. Maria realized that her steadfast approach was gradually establishing her credibility and authority within the team. During lunch, Maria met Lena in their usual cafe to discuss the morning's developments. They analyzed Alex's behavior, considering both his motivations and the potential impact on the team.
Lena emphasized the importance of maintaining composure while continuing to assert boundaries. Maria agreed, recognizing that her focus on integrity and professionalism was crucial.
They also discussed strategies for fostering positive collaboration within the team, ensuring that everyone's contributions were acknowledged. These discussions reinforced Maria's confidence, reminding her that strategic planning and careful observation were essential tools for navigating complex dynamics. Returning to the office, Maria noticed subtle shifts in Alex's behavior. He appeared more impatient, occasionally frowning when she spoke or redirecting discussions.
Maria remained calm, interpreting these signals as signs of frustration rather than personal attack.
She understood that emotional reactions could be leveraged against her, so she carefully monitored her responses. Her approach was deliberate. Observe, analyze, respond professionally, and maintain boundaries. Ju reminded herself that control was not about dominance, but about clarity, preparation, and patience. Later in the afternoon, a situation arose that tested Maria's diplomacy.
A minor misunderstanding occurred regarding project deadlines, and Alex tried to suggest that Maria had miscommunicated with a colleague. Maria calmly gathered the relevant information, explaining the sequence of events and clarifying the communication.
Her explanation was clear and factual, leaving little room for misinterpretation. Alex attempted to challenge her, but Maria's composed responses and detailed documentation made it difficult for him to dispute her account. The incident ended without escalation, and her colleagues appeared impressed by her professionalism and ability to handle pressure. After the incident, Maria took a moment to reflect on her approach. She realized that her strategy was working. By responding calmly, documenting carefully, and maintaining integrity, she was gradually neutralizing Alex's attempts to unsettle her. But she also recognized the importance of self-care, understanding that prolonged tension could be mentally exhausting. Throughout the day, she made sure to take short breaks, stretch, and remain mindful of her mental and emotional well-being. These small acts helped her sustain focus and composure. By late afternoon, Maria was approached by a junior colleague who expressed concern about the ongoing tension. The colleague confided that Alex's behavior had caused some discomfort among team members. Maria listened carefully, offering reassurance and guidance. She emphasized the importance of professionalism, clear communication, and mutual respect. By providing support, she reinforced a culture of accountability and respect within the team. This interaction reminded Maria that her influence extended beyond her own boundaries. By setting an example, she could positively impact the workplace environment. As the workday ended, Maria prepared for the upcoming one-on-one with the senior manager. She reviewed her accomplishments, recent project contributions, and documented interactions, ensuring that she could present a clear and objective account. She also reflected on her personal growth over the past weeks, recognizing the resilience, patience, and strategic thinking she had developed. These qualities had strengthened her confidence, preparing her to navigate the challenges ahead with clarity. That evening, Maria returned home, feeling both mentally fatigued and quietly empowered. She made herself a cup of tea and settled by the window, watching the city lights flicker in the distance.
She reflected on the progress she had made, recognizing that resilience was a journey rather than a destination.
The challenges with Alex had tested her patience, strategy, and emotional control, but she had navigated them with dignity and clarity. Her focus on preparation, observation, and professional integrity had reinforced her confidence and sense of self-worth. As she prepared for bed, Maria reviewed her notes one final time. She documented key interactions, strategies that had been effective, and areas where she could continue to improve her approach. She reminded herself that patience, preparation, and clear communication were her greatest tools. She also acknowledged the importance of self-care, understanding that maintaining mental and emotional well-being was essential for sustained resilience. Before drifting to sleep, Maria reflected on the lessons she had learned. Strength was not measured by aggression or dominance. It was demonstrated through composure, strategy, and integrity. By standing firm in her values, maintaining boundaries, and acting with clarity and professionalism, she had navigated complex challenges without compromising her dignity. These lessons, rooted in her heritage and personal experiences, gave her confidence in her ability to face the days ahead. By the end of Part 4, Maria's character had grown even stronger. She had demonstrated resilience, strategic thinking, and emotional intelligence in the face of persistent tension. The subtle power struggles with Alex continued, but Maria had established clear boundaries and developed effective strategies for managing them. The foundation was set for the final part of the story, where her perseverance, courage, and wisdom would be tested in ways that would shape both her professional and personal growth. The week of the final challenge arrived. Maria felt a mixture of anticipation and focus as she prepared for another day at the office. She knew that the tension with Alex had reached a point where her responses, composure, and strategic thinking would be tested more than ever. Yet she also felt a quiet confidence, built from the experiences and lessons of the previous weeks. She had learned the value of patience, careful observation, and clear boundaries, and she was ready to apply these skills in every interaction. From the moment she entered the office, the atmosphere felt heavier. Colleagues moved about their tasks, some glancing at her, others whispering softly. Maria remained composed, greeting everyone with her usual calm professionalism. She understood that any visible tension or reaction could be used to manipulate perceptions, so she kept her demeanor steady.
Her focus was on clarity, integrity, and preparation.
She reminded herself that her strength lay in her ability to act deliberately, not react impulsively.
As the morning unfolded, Maria was assigned a critical project with tight deadlines.
Alex predictably found ways to involve himself, volunteering to provide input or suggesting changes. Maria listened carefully, acknowledging helpful contributions but maintaining her own approach when it aligned best with the project goals. Her careful balance of collaboration and autonomy demonstrated both competence and confidence. She noticed that some colleagues were starting to recognize her consistency and professionalism, which gave her additional reassurance. Later, a tense team meeting brought the stakes even higher. The discussion centered on project challenges, and Alex attempted to assert dominance, subtly implying that delays or issues were the result of others' shortcomings. Maria had anticipated this and had prepared detailed documentation to support her perspective. When it was her turn to speak, she calmly presented the facts, outlining her contributions, timelines, and the steps she had taken to ensure project efficiency. Her delivery was confident but measured, leaving no room for misunderstanding. The room was silent as her clear, evidence-based explanation drew attention to her competence and diligence. Alex's subtle tactics became more apparent as the meeting progressed. He tried to redirect discussions and influence opinions, but Maria remained composed. She addressed his points politely but firmly, providing clarification and evidence where necessary. By maintaining her professionalism, she not only protected herself but also reinforced her credibility with the team. Colleagues who had been uncertain about the situation began to see the pattern. Maria's calm, strategic responses consistently demonstrated her reliability and integrity. After the meeting, Maria took a short break, stepping outside for fresh air. The city streets were alive with activity, but Maria found a sense of calm in observing the ordinary flow of life. People hurried past, absorbed in their routines, while she reflected on her journey over the past weeks. She thought about the lessons she had learned. That strength comes from clarity, resilience, and self-respect. That patience and preparation are powerful tools, and that boundaries must be maintained with consistency and dignity. These reflections reinforced her determination and confidence as she returned to the office. In the afternoon, a critical decision was required for the project. Alex attempted to influence the outcome, suggesting approaches that would shift credit away from her. Maria carefully evaluated the options, considering both the project's goals and the broader implications for the team. Recommendation. Presenting it confidently and providing supporting evidence. Her decision was accepted by management, demonstrating her competence and strategic thinking. This moment reinforced Maria's belief that intelligence, preparation, and integrity were more effective than manipulation or force in achieving success. As the day progressed, Maria also focused on supporting her colleagues. She offered guidance, answered questions, and helped resolve minor conflicts. By fostering collaboration and ensuring that everyone's contributions were recognized, she strengthened the team's cohesion and morale. Maria realized that leadership was not about asserting dominance but about empowering others while maintaining one's own integrity. Her approach encouraged trust, respect, and mutual support, making her a valued member of the team. Later in the afternoon, Alex attempted one final test of Maria's patience and composure. He suggested a new method for handling a critical task, implying that her previous work had been inadequate. Maria listened carefully, acknowledging the suggestion before calmly explaining her rationale and the evidence supporting her original approach.
She remained polite but firm, reinforcing her boundaries while maintaining professionalism.
Her response was deliberate, measured, and unshakable. By handling the situation with clarity and dignity, she neutralized the challenge without confrontation.
At the end of the workday, Maria received positive feedback from management regarding her performance and the recent project outcomes. Her careful documentation, strategic thinking, and professional demeanor had not gone unnoticed.
She felt a sense of validation and quiet pride, recognizing that her consistent efforts had created respect and recognition within the workplace. The challenges with Alex, though ongoing, no longer felt threatening. She had demonstrated her ability to maintain control, protect her boundaries, and navigate complex interpersonal dynamics effectively. That evening, Maria met Lena to reflect on the week. They discussed strategies for maintaining a positive, productive workplace environment while continuing to manage challenges effectively. Lena praised Maria's composure, strategic thinking, and professionalism, emphasizing how much she had grown over the past weeks. Maria felt a deep sense of gratitude for the support, guidance, and encouragement she had received. She recognized that personal growth often comes through challenges, and that resilience is strengthened by both experience and reflection. Returning home, Maria allowed herself a moment of quiet celebration. She made a cup of tea and settled by the window, looking out at the city lights. The events of the past weeks had tested her patience, courage, and strategic thinking, but she had navigated them with dignity and integrity.
She reflected on her journey, recognizing that her strength had come from within, guided by her principles, preparation, and careful observation.
The challenges she had faced were not just about workplace dynamics. They were lessons in resilience, self-respect, and personal growth.
Before going to bed, Maria reviewed her notes one final time. She documented her achievements, challenges overcome, and strategies that had proven effective. She reflected on the personal lessons she had learned, the importance of patience, the power of preparation, the value of clear boundaries, and the strength derived from integrity and self-respect. By maintaining these principles, she knew she could navigate future challenges with confidence and clarity. As she drifted off to sleep, Maria felt a deep sense of accomplishment. The tension with Alex, while not entirely resolved, had been managed with intelligence, courage, and professionalism. She had maintained her dignity, upheld her boundaries, and demonstrated her competence and integrity. The journey had strengthened her confidence and resilience, providing a foundation for future success both professionally and personally. By the end of Part 5, Maria had emerged victorious, not through confrontation or aggression, but through patience, strategic thinking, and unwavering self-respect. She had proven that true strength comes from clarity, preparation, and integrity. Her relationships with colleagues had improved, her professional reputation was solid, and her confidence had grown. The story concluded with Maria standing firm in her values, ready to face the future with resilience, courage, and dignity, a testament to her inner strength and growth.